Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Off the Wire Daily. I am your host, Noel Lynn, aka the Cajun Libertarian. Now let's get into it. If you're listening later, my shirt says government, 1 out of 5 stars. Very bad. Would not recommend. That is an understatement to say the least. Before we get started, please go like, share, and subscribe to the show if you like it, right? You can subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube so every time I go live or every time the show drops, you will know about it. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, same freaking thing. Please do that and leave a 5-star review. Follow me over there, whichever platform you choose to listen to, because a lot of people do listen later. And so I appreciate all of you very, very much. Without you, this means nothing. So I need all of your help. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can basically find me anywhere at The Cajun Libertarian or Cajun Libertarian or Noel Olin. That being said, let's get into the show. Before we get started, please understand this episode is brought to you by @_infinite zeal. That's @_infinite zeal. INFINITEZEAL. Infinite zeal, capital I, capital Z, @_infinite zeal. Please go follow him on Twitter and check out his bio. Great supporter of the movement. Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Now, what is the topic du jour? It is a doozy, and you're going to want to stick around for this one. New Hampshire lawmaker rips parental involvement in education. Quote, let the teachers teach and shut up. And we have the receipts. My goodness. This is, I want to say this correctly and rightly, because I don't want to overstate it. I don't want it to be hyperbolic. I don't want it to be exaggerative. I'm telling you, as I've said many times over, so please share this show. You stay away from people's kids, because that's how you're going to get a civil war, if we're not already there. Now, before we get into this heavy topic, let's get into one of the newer segments that I personally have fallen in love with, and that is groundbreaking philosophical takes from Kamala Harris. From those of you, for those of you listening later, my goodness, I'm sorry. I have this ridiculous picture of Kamala Harris with that caption, groundbreaking philosophical takes from Kamala Harris. And so you really want to listen, all right? You really want to watch the show, because there's so much visuals that go on here. And I know so many of you listen later, and I cannot thank you enough. But you can do both. You can do both. A lot of this stuff is worth listening to twice. So let's get some groundbreaking philosophical takes from Kamala Harris.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Yo, okay. So this just solidifies the idea that you really need to come back if you're listening later. And if at the very least, just watch the beginning of the show. Go back to my YouTube channel at the Cajun Libertarian. Go to the live button, hit live. This will be the latest episode uploaded to the show, because you need to watch that clip. Either she's high, drunk on meth, or she's just Kamala Harris. I don't know how to say it better than that. Because, look, I wave my hands around a lot. I speak with my hands a lot. But if you're hearing that audio, and then you go back and you watch the hand signals that she's providing for you, I use providing loosely, by the way, you will understand completely that does not match up at all. She's got to be drunk. I don't know. She's normal Kamala language, right? Like the worst predictive text on the planet. But the visuals, there's something supremely wrong with these people. Amazing stuff. I'll play it again at the end of the show because you're going to have to watch that again. But let's get into this because this is very deep and heavy. And we have a real problem on our hands because if this does not get fixed ASAP, I'm telling you, there's going to be trouble. Also, get your kids out of the schools. You know what I don't have to worry about is this because my kids are never going to see the light of day in these schools. This is incredible. New Hampshire lawmaker rips parental involvement in education. Quote, let the teachers teach and shut up. From Fox News 5/19/2023. You can actually find this all over the place. I just, I found an article that was shot to me. It just so happens to be Fox News. Not that I need to justify that. I'm going to get news from all over the place. But here we are. New Hampshire State Representative Tommy Hoyt said parents were, quote, incompetent teachers. A New Hampshire Democratic lawmaker is drawing attention for telling a parent Wednesday to, quote unquote, shut up and, quote unquote, let the teachers teach. This is remarkable. Listen to this person's explanation. Tommy, dude, listen to his explanation. Quote, do you know why children's results tanked during COVID? Let me repeat. Do you know why children's results tanked during COVID? Question mark. Let's go back to the top. New Hampshire lawmaker rips parental involvement in education. Again with the quote, do you know why children's results tanked during COVID? Their parents were incompetent teachers. Do your child a favor. Do your children a favor. Let the teachers teach and shut up. You're clearly no professional, end quote. Hoyt responded. Here is the screenshot from the parent. There you go. For those listening later, reply. SB 272 Parental Rights Bill, please pass without floor amendments. Tom Hoyt responds, and it says, to me, do you know why children's results tanked during COVID? Their parents were incompetent teachers. Do your children a favor. Let the teachers teach and shut up. You're clearly no professional. Tommy. All right. Let's table everything else for a second. And let's just evaluate the arrogance of this person, Tommy Hoyt. It exemplifies exactly why your kids should not be in these schools. Doesn't matter. Blue state, red state, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That right there, okay? Liken that to how police treat people. It's very akin. Just they don't have the license to murder you, let's say, if your mother calls because you're trying to attempt suicide. And you'll get that reference if you've watched previous shows. And you should watch all of them because all of these daily shows are fantastic and they are becoming extraordinarily popular. Now, unreal, but not unexpected. So let's address for a second the mentality that is needed to make such a comment in an era where parental involvement, especially after the Virginia election, if you remember correctly, the Democrat literally said that the parents had no right to know what's going on in their kids' schools. He basically lost the election because of that. And now you get a Democratic lawmaker emailing a parent over a parental rights bill, telling them to literally shut up because they're not professionals. And they're going to give you examples of, quote, do you know why children's results tanked during COVID? Let me let you in on a secret. Number one, the first and foremost obvious. Most of these parents did not understand how to homeschool. They did not understand or research how to evaluate the curriculum and help their children to understand it because they had not been in that business, because they had outsourced their parental responsibility to the state. Now, that makes some of you mad. I apologize, but kind of. Because at the end of the day, the parent is the first teacher. And this is why I say get your kids out of these schools. There's many, many reasons. Here's a big one that is way up on the top of my list. And I'm going to use an Albert Einstein quote to concrete this very, very real and significant and applicable statement. Your kids are not learning to their potential in these schools. Standardized testing is an absolute cancer. And it's always been proven ever since the Department of Education was instituted by the federal government back in the late 60s, early 70s. Our IQ and our education system began to drop immediately because we outsourced our parental rights and responsibility of education to our children, to the state, in order to keep up with the Joneses. Now, without getting too sidetracked, number one failure of the Industrial Revolution was that the government saw an opportunity to say, we can institute a school system because now we have the technology and the revolutionary system to make so much money that it would be advantageous to put both parents into the workforce. All right, I'll leave that there. That's a discussion for another day. But let's talk about this right here. He's almost not wrong. But it's the fact that he's so arrogant and absolutely condescending and depreciative of parents literally wanting to be involved with their children. Let's address that first and foremost. This is so condescending, and he's literally slapping them in the face with basically the standard application of lying using statistics by saying this. And it's subjectively wrong what he's saying. And we'll get into that in a second because we're almost out of time here. So I'm going to wrap this up really quick. But I just want to acknowledge how arrogant and condescending these people are. In an age where parents are trying to do their best, and you've clearly got a parent, most parents, and you've clearly got this parent literally trying to be involved in their kids' lives after they've learned all of this stuff. And he has the gall to talk to a parent. If he's got the gall to talk to this parent, that's how he means to all parents. Period. All right, let's keep reading. You're clearly no professional, Hoyt responded. The parent took a screenshot of Hoyt's response, and the image began circulating on social media. American Federation for Children senior fellow Corey DeAngelis, my man. Like, I'm pretty sure he follows my Facebook page. We've been back and forth on Twitter a lot. I've been begging this guy to come on the show. He's a massive wave of positivity in the school system. Forbes under 30 star. Corey DeAngelis. Follow him on Twitter and Facebook. My guy, come on the show, bro. Like, I love talking about this. And I know you know, like, without a doubt, you retweet, you like a lot of my stuff. Right? Come on, man. Let's talk about this. This is so massively important. Corey DeAngelis drew attention to Hoyt's message on Twitter and told Fox News Digital, quote, Representative Tommy Hoyt let the mask slip. Exactly. These socialists, exactly, think they know better than the parents. Exactly. They despise the very notion of parental rights because they really believe kids belong to the government, end quote. Exactly. And this goes right to what Joe Biden just said just a couple of weeks ago. They're not your kid. Literally, guy said this. They're not your kids. They're all of our kids. Wrong. As I've stated before. Let me calm down and be articulate. Let me make something perfectly clear to all of you. Under no circumstances are my children anywhere to be considered yours. Absolutely not. So what Corey's saying is 100% right because you've got the president of these United States literally saying that exact thing. Kick rocks. And if you're a parent and you subscribe to this, what are you thinking? Honestly, I'm asking genuinely. What on earth are you thinking? Outsourcing the safety and education of your children solely to state actors? My God, I get it. Like, it's homeschooling is difficult. You got to make a lot of sacrifices. You got to learn a lot of stuff. Translation: you got to be more responsible than you are now. And that is directed specifically to the people that are applauding this. No, parents are the first teachers. And excuse me, Tommy Hoyt, but you are a moron. Because I don't have to be a professional to be able to teach my kids how to succeed in today's world. No, you do this because you are panicking because the vast majority of the country, especially in the libertarian and or the conservative movement, are yanking their kids out of these schools, and you don't have the ability to indoctrinate them anymore. So you use condescension, you use appeal to authority, you use every freaking disgusting argument that has no validity to it whatsoever to try to discredit these parents and discourage them from having a relationship within the realm of education with their children. I got news for you, buddy. The game is up. Full stop. Let's finish up. They despise the very notion of parental rights. This is from Corey DeAngelis again. I want to read this last statement. They despise the very notion of parental rights because they really believe kids belong to the government. End quote from Corey DeAngelis. Hoyt confirmed to the New Hampshire Journal first that the email was authentic and said, quote, "The way I feel is that children's test scores in school performance dropped off drastically was because the reason was because they didn't have teachers, and the parents that thought we can replace them and we can tell them what to do was not effective. I probably could have used better words," end quote. First of all, let's dissect this really quick. The way I feel is that children's test scores in school performance dropped off drastically. All right. Now, let's go back to standardized testing that I've already explicitly said was an absolute cancer. Albert Einstein, I told you I'd give you his quote. If you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, he will spend its entire life thinking it's stupid. Every single person on this planet learns differently. Every single one. You can categorize some of that learning ability into some of the categorical sectors of what we call education. It does not work. And it's provable by the fact that since we've instituted standardized testing, test scores have plummeted. Our IQ began to drop immediately. Period. Because you cannot take a curriculum and say, I want you, the student, to learn this curriculum this exact way. That's not how education works under no circumstances. It is an abysmal and objective failure. You take the curriculum and you tailor it to the student. You learn the student and figure out, how do you learn? Okay, very good. Now I know how you learn the best. Now I'm going to take the curriculum and I'm going to map it around your ability and intellectual capacity to learn said curriculum. What we've done is the reverse, and it's a toxic cancer. We say, here's the curriculum. You need to maneuver your own mind and your own intellectual ability to learn in these certain specific ways and figure it out. And we're going to put 30 students in the class so that the teacher has absolutely no ability whatsoever to learn how the student is able to learn. I'm moving a little bit too fast because this stuff fires me up. It's amazing. I probably could have used better words. No, bro, you said what you said, and you meant what you said, and we heard what you said. New Hampshire, the Free State Project, abolish the school system in your state and get every freaking Democrat and Republican out of office immediately if they do not 1,000% bow down to your demands. LPNH, Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Magnificent Twitter account. Massive. Now, I don't agree with everything they say, but incredibly influential. This should be on your radar. Your territory. It may already have been. I can't catch every tweet or every post. Free State Project, New Hampshire. LPNH. Get this obliterated and destroy this person politically. Let's finish up. The parent said the reply from Hoyt is an quote unquote illustration of why a parent's Bill of Rights is needed. Yes, exactly. Because these people look at you like you're completely incompetent, impotent fools. We homeschool our children. I don't have a degree. Now, I dropped out of college at 30 years old is when I started college. 4.0 GPA, made the president's list, full-time college student. Dropped out because I didn't really care anymore. I did what I wanted to do. Sorry. Well, I need that piece of paper for. I just wanted to go and see if I could do it. And as a full-time student for quite a while, 4.0 GPA, made the president's list. Yeah, we're done with that. I'm out. My 7-year-old, well, he's not even 7 yet. He has glasses, has since he was 18 months old. He has a speech impediment. We're almost certain he has a mild form of autism. And part of that speech impediment is due to very bad ear canals, which is a family trait of my wife's. He's not 7. He can read. He is right there on track with any single student in school. Is he exceptional at reading? No. Is he exceptional at math? No. Is he above average at his age on both? Yes. And he's never been to school one freaking day. I don't need to be a professional educator to do this. You know what I need to be? An invested parent that's willing to sacrifice a little bit of expenditures. We live in a smaller home. We have broken cars, but they work and they get to work. I have outdated podcast equipment. Everything we have is on a lower standard of what we could because we make the sacrifices. This is not me trying to put myself on a pedestal. I promise. All I'm doing is exemplifying the fact that if we want to get rid of this system, sacrifices have to be made. Period. End of discussion. Do you want your child to succeed to the maximum of their potential? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then decisions need to be made, and they need to be made immediately. I want to repeat that. The parent said the reply from Hoyt is an quote unquote illustration of why a parent's Bill of Rights is needed. Basically, what you're saying is that the teachers are better parents than parents. And that's exactly what they're saying. Not only that, but the government is more of a parent than you. Quote, that's the mentality that we're fighting against, which clearly says, you're stupid, shut up. We don't care what you think. So that attitude and mentality are the reason that we even have to be trying to pass a parental rights bill. Almost true. The reason we have to pass it is because we've outsourced our parental obligatory duties in the education field, amongst many other fields, to state actors. But you're not wrong. It's time for change. And it's time for it now. I'm sorry. These are hard truths. But I would not be sitting here with full integrity and full sacrifice on our behalves, making said sacrifices to walk out exactly my very, very passionate point. Get your kids out of these schools in Jesus' name, and do it now. Callie, shut up. I'm on the show. My dog. She's great too. Smartest dumb dog I've ever met. Let's hear this word from Kamala Harris one more time. Groundbreaking philosophical takes from Kamala Harris. I'm getting way too excited. This is the kind of stuff that drives me up the wall and fires me up so much. It's not about parental rights. It's not. Because parents are the only ones that have rights over their kids. Full stop. So you're already ceding ground. You've already ceded so much. Wake up, please. And I'm only this harsh because I care and I love you and I hope the best for you and your kids. Your kids. Because your kids are not my kids. I don't know you. Some of you I know on a pretty personal level. Most of you I don't. I don't know your kids. They're not my kids. I can only do what I can do for my kids. And I can only say that for the most part, to the best of my ability. And I'm going to continue that, to progress in that best of my ability, to be the best parent to my child as I can possibly be. One of those ways is to get your freaking kids out of these schools and do it now. Now, groundbreaking philosophical take from Kamala Harris because it's funny.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what she's saying, other than the fact that she's just drunk, high, stupid, all of the above, and plus she's Kamala Harris. She's just a disaster. She's got to be the worst politician ever. How on earth are you stupider than Joe Biden when that guy has dementia? All right, I'll leave it right there. I love each and every one of you. See you tomorrow, same Cajun time. Oh, let me say this, by the way. I got a very special episode, live episode. We haven't done one of those in a while because these are becoming more popular and they're shorter and people are becoming more engaged and downloading them more. So I'm trying to grow from the bottom up. Anyway, very special guest and very special live off the wire on Thursday night. If something goes awry, I'll let you know. But this is an absolutely credible and esteemed journalist, Fox News, Blaze TV, Tim Cass, Rubin Report, 400,000 followers on Twitter, writes amazing articles that I've shared with you before. If anything goes awry, I'll let you know. I'm not going to tell you the name yet because I want to make sure everything is on par for 6 p.m. Central on Sunday night. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like this show, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, hit the notifications bell for all, hit me a 5-star review for all, and don't forget Facebook and Twitter. I love you very much, and I am out. Galatians 2:20.